Look, before you tell me anything about your so-called life, can we just agree that life is stupefyingly simple, and you're probably just overcomplicating everything for entertainment's sake? I'm serious. It's simple. You don't need to have a psychology degree, know the ins and outs of Maslow's hierarchy or Freud's theory of psychosexual development or Bowlby's attachment style, whatever crap, to figure out that life is pretty simple. There's not much to it. Make some friends, make some dough, find somewhere warm and dry to eat, sleep, and screw. Then repeat. Just repeat. Pay attention to that repeat part, because that's the kicker. That's the kicker. That's where shit gets complicated. That's where it all goes haywire. So, anyway, what I'm trying to say is that life is ridiculously simple, stupefyingly simple, but, well, you know, simple is boring. And we overdressed, overthinking, overgrown chimps hate boring more than anything. Yeah, for us wax-back chimps, there's no torture worse than boring. We'll do anything to escape boredom. Half of the world's problems, hell, more than half, are caused by people being bored. Let me ask you this. Would you rather be waterboarded or have thumb screws put to your fingers for 5 minutes, or sit in a windowless waiting room at the DMV with no Wi-Fi connection and nothing to read except some OSHA poster on employee hand washing for 3, 4, 8 hours? I don't care what you say. You and I both know that you would choose 5 minutes of blatant, explicit torture over mind-numbing, sensory deprivation, boredom, every time. And not just because it makes for a better story to share on your Instagram feed. You know I'm right. You know I'm right. So we're not even going to talk about your problems. There's really no need for that. Can I repeat that? You need me to water that down for you. It really wasn't all that much to take in. You have ADD and you have trouble focusing. First of all, you don't have ADD. No one has ADD. ADD is a myth, a lie, invented by Big Pharma to get you and, I don't know, trillions of other people hooked on some expensive pills you don't really need, and perpetuated by the psychotherapeutic missionary complex to get you to spend money on some debasing confessional sessions to supply some hack writer with some anecdotal stories or whatever to support some fictitious new mental disorder to make a name for themselves and sell some books, maybe get tenure at some crappy crackerjack university. And by the way, here's some advice. Enter the therapy room at your own peril. That's good material that you're just giving away. And if there's one thing that you own the rights to, it's the salacious details of your own sins. Those are for you to sell on the open market, not some prying, prurient psychotherapist, psychobabbler. Anyway, what was I blabbering about? ADD. You have ADD, so you don't remember. That's it, ADD. That's what I was saying. You don't have a disorder. What you have is a really boring world. You can't focus because 99% of the shit going on around you is just flat line, flat out boring. The definition of boring is stuff that's hard to pay attention to. Seriously, listen to me. Write it on your forehead. There's nothing wrong with you. You need me to repeat that? There is nothing wrong with you. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with you. You still didn't catch that. Well, that's probably because you were thinking about something way more interesting, right? Maybe you have a brain that just won't shut the hell up. And congratulations, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good sign. It gives us something to work with. Yeah. An overactive brain. How is that a problem? Yeah. We can work with that. As opposed to the other situation, you know? So, what were you thinking about? Just blurt it out. Look, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to judge you. I can't possibly judge you. Heck, your sins, whatever they are, because you haven't told me, are the most precious, unboring thing about you. You should talk about them more. More. Maybe you'd have more friends. People seriously love stories about other people's dumpster fires. They love stories about people making dumpster fires of their own lives. Sin stories are the best stories. That's the kind of shit people pay attention to. Murder and violence, sexual transgressions, whatever, getting caught with your pants down. The more humiliating and debasing, the better. The stupider the story makes you look, the more attention you're going to get from other people. Have you thought about that? I mean, that's the one thing that Freud got right. People love it when other people look stupider than them. That's the ego, right? That's how it works. That's its favorite defense mechanism. Downward comparison. Downward comparison. Downward comparison. Everyone relishes an opportunity to say, hey, at least I'm not that loser. Right? Look, speaking of attention spans, I've got about 7 more minutes before I reach my limit. No offense, but you're pretty boring. Just sitting there all quiet and shit. So, to be honest, I've got more interesting things to think about, like how to build the perfect libertarian paradise where all drugs are legal, cigarettes aren't taxed, and there's a 4-hour work week, right? But I do like to keep things real and practical. So before I send you off back to your miserable life, that's what you want to call it, let's just have a chat about Maslow's hierarchy of needs or some shit like that. Yeah. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's just pretty much a fancy way of saying the shit you need and the shit you need to do to muddle through this boring freak fest that we call life. At the most basic level, you've got your physical needs, right? It's all very obvious. Food, water, warmth, a passably clean bed. I mean, you don't have to get fanatical about it. It just doesn't have to be hospital clean. It just needs to be clean enough so nobody gets sick, right? And I think it's not too much to ask. It's not like so out of reach to strive for having a roof over your head. But to get any of that, that's just like the basic stuff. You need to make some dough, some cash money, so you can just shelve all of your romantic John Lennon imaginings about a kumbaya, occupy drum circle. Everybody, let's hold hands and trade the organically grown food we grew in the gray water gardens we've been tending. No. You can just get rid of that. You can just toss out that pointless fantasizing about a cashless egalitarian society, right? Just one more. Let me get that. You ever been to a commune? Like a real commune? I mean, I felt more peace and harmony down at the dog tracks. And I've seen more productivity in a palliative care facility, to be honest. A bunch of lazy hippie losers. Anyway, we don't need to get into the finer points of analysis or pointless pontificating about why nobody seems to be able to come up with an alternative, a viable alternative to capitalism. Because like life, it's really simple. I'll tell you why. Because nobody's figured out how to get around or change human nature. Humans are just lazy and selfish and greedy, overgrown, overdressed, megalomaniacal monkeys. What are you gonna do? You can't change human nature. Now, starting from that premise, you can't fight human nature. That's our starting point. There's no alternative to capitalism. Can we agree on that? You've got to figure out how you're going to shove stuff in your pie hole so you can stay alive and all that funk and jazz. No, you can just forget what your guidance counselor told you. I mean, so what if you have the aptitude for becoming an adequate accountant or a middle manager, right? All that shit is beyond boring, and if there's one thing that you have a right to while you're in this, it's meat sack. It's the right to enjoy your life. There's a loophole. There's a crack in the system, and you've got to find it. Whatever energy you'd be putting into getting that real estate license or that MBA or that dental hygienist's certificate, yeah, we'll focus that energy on finding the crack and slip your ass through it. Spend every second you can scrambling and scheming, concocting your own personal get-rich-quick scheme. Let me just give you some examples, and then you're on your own. You're on your own with this one. I don't know. Claim you have undeniable proof that Bigfoot exists. Video footage from the hills of the Hoh rainforest in Washington. Or force your kid to memorize pi to the 68,000th digit. Record that, post it on YouTube. Your kid reciting pi to the 68,000th digit. Or spend every waking second writing that song that bumps Baby Shark from the top spot. You don't need to know anything about songwriting or music. Neither did whatever jackass wrote that song. And I use write and song loosely. I know. Move to the busiest intersection in your town, like where all the traffic crashes happen, and mount crash cameras on your front porch and point them straight at traffic. You're going to get a hit, at least daily. You just post that to social media. You're set. If you're not really into traffic, I don't know, car crashes, you could just dig up whatever change you have between your couch cushions and build the tiniest tiny house on record, and then just record living in that tiny house 24/7, and bam, instant moneymaker. Or can't afford the tiny house, just drive around in a van, pretty much doing the same thing. This is perfect for you if you're able to vacillate between being absolutely ecstatic about van life and then like having occasional melodramatic meltdowns about how hard living life on the road is, and filming that, being vulnerable or whatever. We don't like fans. All right, what else? Raccoon whispers is trademarked. So bring some other cute but wild animals into your ho-hum, boring home and spend your days critter camming. What kind of animals? I don't know. Red pandas, a slow loris, some shit like that. The crazier the better, the wilder the better. Yeah. worry about property damage. That's the point. You don't need to worry about property damage. You don't need insurance. Don't think about that. It's not, you don't need money for insurance. If you get it all on camera, the more destruction and hijinks, the better, right? The more shit that critter destroys, the more you can just kick back and watch your view counts and profits just tick up, right? So anyway, I think you get the idea, right? Yeah, I'm running low on sauce. So that means it's time to wrap things up. And honestly, I don't remember what my third piece of advice was going to be. So I'll just leave you with whatever bits of random wisdom pop into my head. Yeah, we gotta wrap this up. Find a glitch in the system. Yeah, we covered that, right? Okay. Don't be afraid to be a unique individual. Mm-hmm. The whole world is conspiring to send you into a panic attack if you're on the verge of discovering that you have some quirky tic or flamboyantly off-kilter personality trait. Don't fall into that trap. Don't let them convince you that's a bad thing. Whatever those quirky tics are, and I hope you have a lot of them, that's your personal gold mine, and you milk them for whatever you can, honey. You be your own one-person freak show, and you don't let anyone capitalize on that. You hear me? You own that shit. You make sure you get all the profits from your own weirdness. Whatever your weirdness generates, capitalize on it. Oh. And to quote the ungreat deadbeat Doug himself, don't fall into the trap of pride of country nationalism. Nationalism only teaches you how to hate people you haven't met and take pride in accomplishments you had no part in whatsoever. Those are Doug's words. All that energy you'd exert waving flags and shouting down French or Polish or people from Manchester, people, it's time better spent critter camming or camping out at SeaWorld. Yeah, camping out at SeaWorld to get that next orc attack on video. Or drunk eBay shopping. Yeah. Tradition and heritage, they're dead people's baggage. So stop carrying them. And I guarantee you'll feel a lot of your problems have been instantly lifted from your back once you do that. And that's all I got for you. Because I've got to go check on my Sky Mall order and get some more of this. I'm sorry, that's the best closer I've got. I'm saving my best closer, well, for the very end. As should you. You gotta have a good closer, right? Go out with a bang. Now, go find a town that's 20 years behind the times. Get drunk. Pass out there, right? I think that'll do you a lot of good. Now, lights out.